Finding your style is one of the most important things you can do as a man.
I concur. Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Eric.
I'm Chris.
And today we're talking about a topic that we're really passionate about. We've thought about a lot.
Yep.
And it's how to find your style. And we're going to look at it from kind of a big picture down, some big thought perspective on it. So when I'm thinking about how to find my individual style, what should I be thinking about?
The number one thing, be authentic to who you are. So the clothes you wear on the outside should reflect who you are on the inside.
That's great. You don't want to dress something that you are not.
That's the most important thing. I think the second thing to remember is don't put too much pressure on yourself and don't get stuck in a particular style. Your personal style really is a journey.
It's a journey.
It's a journey. You're going to change, so the clothes you wear should change.
That's great.
And along with that, so that you don't get stuck, don't be afraid to experiment and to discover new things.
Yeah, so I have an interesting story on experimenting. Just a few months ago, I've never worn any skinny jeans in my life. And it's like, it was kind of that whole big thing. I was just like, I don't even want to deal with it.
It had a bad rap with you.
It did. And I'm more of the casual guy. But what happened was this pair of skinny jeans landed in my life is what happened.
Were they free?
They may or may not have been free.
Classic Eric, yeah.
Classic Eric. So I tried them on and I hate them. I honestly, I did not like at all the way they felt. I've been traditionally wearing a more casual or baggier
looser fit.
Yeah, looser fit. And so, but you encouraged me, Blake encouraged me, and then when I went home, my wife looked at me wearing these new jeans, and she looked at me, and this is what she did. She just looks at me and goes, "Mm-hmm." That was it. That was it for me.
Great, yeah.
And it was really interesting because had I never, I wore them for a week based on your encouragement. They stretched out. They got a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah.
And my wife loved them. And so, and then I liked them.
Yeah.
Like I actually liked the way I looked in them. I just didn't like the feel. But because I was willing to kind of journey and discover a little bit and experiment, I found something new
that you like.
That was
me.
Looks good on you. That was actually me. Yeah.
And I think something important to call out is that you still wear those other jeans that you were wearing before, right? It's not like you just abandoned everything.
Yes.
And went full bore into something new.
Yes.
You're working new things into your wardrobe.
So along those lines, that was a piece of discovery. What are some of those other things in our life, certain events that might prompt these changes? If it is a journey, what are some of the things that kind of bring in different changes? Yeah,
I feel like there are a lot of big changes most guys go through. Maybe it's you graduated college or you have your first big job, right? Or maybe you're dating. Maybe you're looking to put yourself out there a little bit more. Or maybe you're new to this country and you've got a new environment.
Or new culture.
Totally new culture, and so you kind of want to retain your own culture, but at the same time, you want to fit in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we found something else along these lines that's really interesting, which is this age gap. Mm-hmm. And when we created Cladwell, we surveyed a lot of guys, different ages. But one thing we found really interesting was this line between when your 20s and your 30s. So right about when you turn 30, something weird happens.
Yeah.
And it's... we kind of call it this thing, the difference between potential and kind of your track record. Yeah. And so when you're out of your 20s, this is kind of how we discovered this. You're maybe entering the workforce and you're riding all this potential out of college.
Oh, yeah. You're the young gun. You're going to make things happen, right?
So when in your workplace, you can afford to be a little looser, a little more casual with what you wear. Mm-hmm. And your style is maybe not... It's where it is at that point in time.
Definitely, yeah.
And then something happens when you turn 30, which is like... You can look forward to when you're 40, and before you've never been able to do that in your life. When you're 20, in your 20s, you never think about when you're 40, right?
No.
But when you're 30, 31, you're like, I've got a few years of experience now, and now who do I want to be going forward?
Yeah, and I think you're at that point where you're also looking back and saying, what have I done for the last 10 years of my life when I was supposed to be an adult?
And so that's one of those key moments we found when we've talked to a lot of guys where they come into this kind of, not a crisis, but this mode of like...
It's a pivot point
It's
in
a
their
reevaluation potentially of their style and really thinking through what's changing at that time.
Yeah, definitely.
So as we continue to talk about how to find your style, someone we know who's excellent at this, right, is Aaron Marino over at IamAlphaM.com. He's helped thousands of guys.
Yeah, he's done a great job.
Tons of content, tons of videos. The guy's like everyone knows about him in the style community, right?
Yeah.
He's great. And he actually did a video on Cladwell on how Cladwell actually helps you find your style. So let's talk about that. Cladwell actually has a system where we survey guys and kind of puts them in a graph of a style spectrum. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So every guy who goes onto Cladwell.com is going to take a survey. We're going to assess his style, and that's going to help us plot him on 2 spectrums. So one is how trendy does he want to be or not trendy? And the other one is, does he dress for himself or does he dress for others? Those are the 2 big metrics we work at.
So it's like an XY axis of those 2 things.
Essentially, yeah. And then we get a graph, and we can plot every guy on that graph.
Yeah. So walk me through those kind of different quadrants on the graph and what guy wears what, I guess.
Yeah, so the system we use is a little bit more sophisticated than we're going to go into right now. But it's sort of easy to think about guys in terms of their style fitting into one of 4 buckets. So if we're looking at the graph at the top left, we've got a guy who wants to dress for himself, but he wants to be trendy too. So we call that guy the urban dweller.
Urban dweller.
Yeah, we just kind of casually refer to him as that.
Okay.
And then if we move to the right of the graph, we've got a guy who wants to dress for others. So he wants to be appropriate at all times, and he wants to be trendy. So he shares that with the guy, with the urban dweller just next to him. So we move down the graph.
What do we call that guy?
Oh, that's the young pro, the young professional.
Young professional.
Yeah, thank you. If we move down the graph, we've got a guy who wants to dress for others, so he still wants to be a little more formal. He wants to be appropriate at all times, but he's not looking to be trendy. He wants to be classic.
Yes.
Yeah. And then if we move to the left, we've got a guy who isn't as concerned about being appropriate at all times. He's maybe more concerned with comfort, so he doesn't want to be trendy.
More casual guy.
More casual guy, yeah.
Okay, so we've got these 4 different quadrants. I guess my question is, when you take the survey on Cladwell, it puts you onto one of those points. And you can actually go check out on Cladwell.com your style analytics. It's under like your About You. And you can see exactly where, based on your answers, you're plotted on this graph.
Yeah.
My question is, if finding your style is a journey, am I locked into a particular quadrant forever and for every occasion? I guess that's my question.
Yeah, I think that's one of the most important things to remember. The second part of your question I'll answer first is that we might want to dress differently based on the occasion. So I might want to look one way at the office and another way when I'm out with my girlfriend or my wife on the weekends. Okay. And that's totally fine. So the other thing is, you really, as you said, you're on a journey. So don't be afraid if you're using Cladwell.com, go in, change your settings, look back at your wardrobe, the things we've recommended for you, until you find something that really feels right for you.
That's great.
Yeah.
So feel free to discover again.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So guys, when you're out there and you're finding your style journey, we hope to be a part of that with you and hope to really help you out. That's why we developed this system, to really help you guys hone into finding your style. Yeah. And we just want to say again, it is a journey. So
absolutely.
So be authentic, try to find yourself, but be willing to discover and try different things.
Don't be afraid to experiment. Yeah.
You might find something about yourself you didn't know, and you'll never know that if you don't try it with your clothing. And that's a really fun and cool thing about clothing and finding your style, right?
Yeah.
So we hope this helps you out, guys. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Leave comments below. We'd love to hear your thoughts about finding your style, or maybe even just like your journey on this. We love hearing that.
We've all had our own, so any stories you can share would be great.
Yeah. And if you haven't gotten your free wardrobe from Cladwell, go over there, 2 minutes, it's free, and generate your personal roadmap to dress better. Thanks a lot, guys, and we will see you next time.